My name is Eduardo Tautiva. I'm a technical placement specialist with Ford. It's a fancy way for saying I'm in the recruitment, retention, and recognition of automotive technicians. Palm Beach State College is an institution that's putting out a very good product at an affordable price. For me, that's a deal. Because my thing is, as a businessman, it's always, what's the rate of return on my investment? What's my ROI? And today, I'm going to be presenting to the students a scholarship that's put out there by Ford. So it's Auto Tech Scholarship. I look at these students and I can look them dead in the eye and say, yes, we have a career path.
In the future, car performance are going to be changing constantly and having new ideas. We have great professors here. They give us every detail of the cars that we need to know for any kind of maintenance job. So when we go out there into the world, we are ready for anything that's going to throw at us.
The automotive umbrella is huge. There are just so many opportunities, roles that they can fill that they had no idea. Look, one thing is for sure, automotives are not going. They're just changing. They're designing cars totally new wave. Schools such as this one need to be up on their game, and they just recently got a big endowment for the electric vehicles because that's the future.